Let's go!
That's not
Would
the
that
case.
rattle you?
Nah, not at all.
Power Hour NFL fans, who predicted that Washington would pull off one of the biggest playoff upsets in recent memory? We did! On our preview piece earlier in the week, we pick it up here in the second quarter. Jayden, of course, buying all kinds of time. This offensive line was phenomenal. And guess what? They were running two deep over routes, and Terry McLaurin, who was phenomenal in this game, cleared out all that space for Dyami Brown to make this catch. So the NFL is an absolutely positively brutal league where you really need guys to step up. So Jayden Daniels actually had Bates in the flats for an open touchdown, kind of short-armed it. So you need your offensive lineman to step up. I think they had a fourth down conversion before this, and look at the blocking right here. And once again, it's the gravity that Jayden Daniels creates, right? You just have to account for the zone read pull at all times. And you'll see right here, the way this probably should have been defended is 99 should have crashed down here on Brian Robinson. And obviously, Kirby Joseph pick up Jayden Daniels as a contained guy. But guess what? He doesn't crash down. He crashes down too late. And because he played this terribly, and the reason why he crashed down so late is because he's so worried about Jayden Daniels pulling this. And guess what happens? B-Rob has a hole to run through, okay? So this is a Brian Robinson touchdown, but this is actually a Jayden Daniels touchdown. And guess what? 76 get folded up on. Oh, you hate to see those types of injuries, but it gives the Commanders a lead. All right, we get to here. This is Jayden Daniels again. A little RPO action, all right? So we talked about this with the Lions. They're just not used to playing dual-threat quarterbacks. It's one of the main reasons why I picked the Commanders in this game. The last time they played a quarterback who can actually run is Josh Allen, and the Bills do a really good job of reading numbers, okay? So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in the box. So Jayden right here pulls it because he sees that there's only 2 guys over here. And guess what? There is a heavy run action to the right, okay? So obviously, an overly aggressive defensive coordinator, just way too many guys committed to this run fit, and all you have to do is just have 2 blocks, and it's off to the races here with Terry McLaurin, and you got enough blocks. Terry, of course, really good after the catch. And Kirby Joseph, who led the NFL in interceptions, is an overall physical player. You've got to make this tackle if you're Kirby Joseph, and he just wasn't about that life, right? I would tell the safety right there to horse collar him, do whatever it takes to bring him down, but Terry McLaurin is just playing at way too high a level, and he scores. What a freaking read by Jayden Daniels, and what an amazing run after the catch. And honestly, so much of the playoffs comes down to if you can make plays, and look, obviously, Dyami Brown was struggling to make this block in the preseason. In particular, Jahan Dotson was missing this block in the preseason, and now they're making them, right? That's just, you just need enough. All right, this is where teams have just not been able to handle Washington. Heavy set, 2-man route concepts and getting deep out of it. That's how they really got things going early in the second quarter, right? 2-man route concept. Once again, there's no Noah Brown here in this Commanders equation, and you have decent protection here. 74, of course, who's been a liability all year, he gets beat, but Jayden, while he was getting hit, look at this ball location, right? When it comes to deep ball location, how many rookie quarterbacks have you seen better than Jayden Daniels? And Brown makes a catch right there with the hand in his face. What a ridiculous snag. You'll see it here. Look at this. This should be a flag. Hands to the face, right? His eyes are legitimately closed. Good play. That's what I'm talking about, Dyami. All right, so there are plenty of tight ends in this era that are better than Zach Ertz. There just is, okay? But in this specific instance, I don't know if there is a single one that I prefer in the red zone on an inbreaker, right? Obviously, you won a Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles doing this very thing. So let's start with the genius here of Cliff Kingsbury. So there's another receiver you don't see. You get your most potent red zone option moving here, all right? So what's funny here is 6 has inside leverage on Zach Ertz, all right? And if I was scouting Zach Ertz, I know he likes to run in-breakers. In particular, they like running these out of a trips bunch set. Create a bunch of traffic, get Zach Ertz on an in-breaker. So if I'm 6, I am not letting Ertz get to the inside of me. Pause. But what does Ertz decide to do? Instead of just cutting to the inside and giving away that he's breaking to the inside, watch him get physical first, and you see he gets that little head fake to get his feet stopped and just in a position where he's just catching him, and then he's able to create that little rub of separation. It's just a veteran doing veteran things, and once you give up that inside leverage right there. All right, so first play here of the third quarter, we'll break down to the Commanders. This is just what Jayden Daniels does. All right, I was watching this game actually with a... All right, so what Jayden Daniels does a good job of, and I understand the sack numbers are a little high, but he does such a great job of avoiding the disaster play. All right, so unblocked blitzer, there's not many guys on the planet you want more in this situation than Brian Branch. He's untouched, and I'm telling you, this is a dead on arrival play for 90% of the quarterbacks that are out there. But this is kind of what Josh Allen did, right? There was opportunities for the Lions to make plays on Josh Allen, and I envision this, right? You can go look at the preview piece. The Lions just had not played somebody with decent mobility, and Jayden is more mobile than even Josh Allen. He picks up a huge first down. All right, arguably the biggest play of the game right here. 1:41 left to go. Commanders get stopped, and the Lions have a very impressive drive to cut it to 3. All right, Terry Arnold is a rookie at Alabama, and obviously they played a big game last year in Tuscaloosa versus Jayden, and they were able to win, right? So in the spot, I don't understand this at all. You have to think on 4th and 2, all right? I can understand 4th and 1 that this is going to be handed off, but on 4th and 2, they're not going to not let Jayden Daniels have this football, all right? So you have got to sit heavy to the outside, all right? But what does Terry Arnold do? All right, he gets caught to the inside for whatever reason. Another thing I like about this from the Commander's vantage point is, once again, the heavy set. All right, so you bring in an extra offensive lineman. In fact, it's not even really an extra offensive lineman. It is and it isn't. The left tackle actually got moved to the right side. Okay, so this is a heavy overload to the right with a 2 tight end formation and a receiver right here. And you might actually think it's a handoff to the left. And the funny thing about it was there really wasn't that big of a fake here. Another thing I really like about this play from Washington's vantage point is the design of the play is actually what's blocking the play. So no offensive lineman really needs to execute a block. It's the fakes that are getting it done. You get a good seal right here from the tight end Ertz. And what does Terry Arnold do? He gets caught up to the inside. How do you let this happen? Lions coaching staff, how do you let this happen, Terry Arnold? Why aren't you playing Jayden the entire way? Okay? You have to know on 4th and 2, they're not just handing that to B-Rob, and they just give the game away. Once again, the better coach team was Washington, and it wasn't even close. Okay, easy first down with no hit either. And then once again, it's B-Rob. And what's funny is when they actually got close to the goal line, I hate it when you get close to the goal line and you get tight. What I like to do is spread them out. So you get into trips right here, really stretch them out, and guess what? You still got to execute. And this time, they have it defended better. You see the end is actually crashing down. Remember on the zone read pull, he's full speed down here. But because there's just so much movement up the middle of this Commander's offensive line had one hell of a football game. They're able to score. What a freaking drive. Alrighty, so this really was the dagger in the hearts of the Lions. So, man, 4th and 2, obviously Washington amazing on 4th downs. Man, this was just such a tough game, and Aaron Glenn is very likely to be the coach of my favorite team, so I'm a big Aaron Glenn fan. But, man, this will give him nightmares. 4th and 2, he's got an unblocked player right here. All right, and what makes Jayden Daniels such a cheat code is in the run game, you have to have one extra guy to account for him. And then you also saw earlier how his speed in his zone read can have two guys account for him. We saw it with Elijah Cansey last week. Well, there's just so many things you can do to have a perfect defensive call against 99% of the quarterbacks, but he still finds a way, right? Jayden is so good at fading away, all right? He understands that even with an unblocked guy, that the Commanders are running a mesh concept, okay? So when you're running mesh, it is a really good man coverage beater. And if they're bringing pressure and there's an unblocked guy, all you have to do is back up and wait for this shallow drag to open up, and that's exactly what happens here. And McLaurin is wide the frick open for the game sealer. And it's just such good understanding of the quarterback position. Seeing man coverage, seeing that there's an unblocked player, just scooting back, and letting Scary Terry get across. So this is interesting. Jayden Daniels on third down was just so good in this game. The funny thing, before that Terry McLaurin fourth down, he missed Scary Terry wide open, and on the very next play, Jayden obviously made the play. And that's what makes him so special, right? A negative play doesn't mean anything. A left tackle that is probably a bottom five left tackle doesn't mean anything. And this is a very good play call right here from Cliff Kingsbury. The last 20 passing yards of Jayden's on the game. All right. This is very, very, very intricate. So the guy that actually ends up catching this ball is a lead blocking fullback. You are never thinking in this situation that the fullback is actually the one running the route that you're throwing the ball deep to. So you got a vertical here. You have a running back going into the flat, and this ends up basically being a variation of flood, right? Vertical, intermediate, and one in the flat, okay? And actually, the flat is the shallow drag coming across from Terry McLaurin, And Anzalone knows he's beat off that play action fake. Man, it is so, this play calling is so unfreaking believably good. That's the fullback, a.k.a. tight end, making this play. It's freaking dunkulous. I understand that this game, 90% of it is Jayden Daniels being Jayden freaking Daniels. He was the big differentiator, and obviously Jared Goff played, the worst game arguably of his season. But man, I got to give the Commanders defense a lot of credit, and we'll do a Commanders defensive breakdown if you guys want to a little bit later in the week. It really was a team effort, right? The supporting cast for Washington played a lot better than the supporting cast of Detroit. For the most part, their stars, in particular Jahmyr Gibbs, had a good day, right? And they didn't have Hutchinson, whatever, but injuries happen. And that's another thing that makes Jayden so good. No excuses, right? It really has changed how we discuss QBs, right? You can make every excuse for every other rookie quarterback or just any other quarterback. Jayden just goes out there and gets the job done. And that's why I have always believed in him as a professional quarterback. None of this really shocks me. It really doesn't. I predicted that the Commanders would take care of business of the Lions. I was pretty confident in it. The only thing you can make a case that they probably should have just gone for this 4th and 1, but I also think you should just kick the field goal because you make the field goal, it really does end the game. It makes it a 3-possession game. I think if it was only a 10-point game, you go for it. But honestly, y'all, this team could get it done, right? They really, really, really can. Comment below, would you prefer to see the Rams or the Eagles? And we'll talk to you soon, okay? Yes! Power Hour NFL. Boom! And tonight we are doing lemon pepper chicken wings. Let's go.